The Big Footy Port Adelaide podcast is proudly sponsored by New Vision.
My team, kinda power. I love the power. I love the power.
Hi everyone, Macca 19 here, and you are listening to the Big Footy Port Adelaide podcast, coming to you live once again on Port Fan Radio. And as always, joining me as co-host, we've got Fishing Rick. How are you, mate?
Confused. I still don't get how it can be a live podcast.
Easy.
But there's no excuses this week, Macca.
There are no excuses. Everyone's got what they wanted this week.
Oh, Schultz and Fest will be happy. Finbar will be happy. Tribey will be happy. Everyone should be happy with selections this week, but I won't talk too much
Janus is doing somersaults.
Yes. Good work. Who we got on tonight?
Wonderful. We have got, for the first time this year, we are speaking with Jonts.
G'day boys, how are you?
Good, mate. Thanks for coming on.
No worries. Good changes, can't complain.
That's it, absolutely. Let's get straight into it and talk about round 12. It's Port play Carlton at the MCG this Saturday. We've got a 15-11 win-loss record with one draw in there as well. And of course, the last time we met was the 103-point thrashing on Friday night at Adelaide Oval last year. Carlton are sitting bottom, sitting 1-9. They've sacked their coach. Injuries everywhere. Their best players just retired. They are having an absolute nightmare season.
Yeah, but their form is starting to turn, which is a bit of a worry.
On the basis of one match?
Yeah, basis of one match. But unfortunately for us, it's the game before our match. So hopefully that doesn't continue in an upward trajectory.
And they had a couple of handy ins in Yarran and Gibbs. Like both of them are a lot better than, well, Judd retired, that's a harsh one. And then Jason Tutt's a bit of a spud. So, handy ins for them as well.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. Yeah. Yarran provides them so much run off half back, and Gibbs, if Gibbs is switched on, he'll be, the sort of player that'll be best on ground.
Is Yarran the Impy job?
I reckon Impy will play down back. I reckon Impy should be playing on, not sure, maybe someone like Menzel, I think.
He's a
that
good
would
player.
be my sort of prime matchup, I think.
It's like the battle of the original Chad versus the new model Chad, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he certainly could do a job on Yarran, or even someone like Cade Simpson as well.
Well, where's Yarran playing these days? Is he playing that running half-back line, or is he playing in the forwards?
Oh, he normally plays off half-back, I think.
Half-back.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's an interesting one, like, emotional-wise, for both supporter bases, I guess. I mean, the Carlton supporters would be desperate for a win, and I guess they'd be quite up and about, wouldn't they, with our form, which is pretty average. And obviously we're pretty hopeful for a win and sort of expecting a win against the basket case of the competition. But I guess, Macca, you're going over there. You're not chock full of confidence.
Oh, look, this game worries me a lot more than I wish it did, to be honest. I think they'll absolutely be fired up for this, especially if Judd has a bit of a, like a cavalcade before the game or something like that, a bit of a wave to the crowd. And just like Port of the late 2000s, low teams will see us as entirely beatable, and they know, we are capable of cracking if they put the pressure on. We've already lost to Brisbane this year, and I think Carlton will be seeing this one as their possibility to get a bit of a scalp.
Yes.
No, for sure.
What does Jonts think?
Carlton's boards are up and about, and I don't know. I feel I'd watched the last two times. Just gave a quick view. They played us round one last year as well. Was it round one? I watched.
Yep.
Yeah, and I watched that, and both times they just tried to match us with just you can run, we'll run, and both times it didn't work at all. So I can't see. Is it Baker, the new coach? Barker.
Yep.
Barker. Yeah, I can't see Barker trying to do that. Like Geelong tried to do it for a quarter. Max just decided to shut the game down. That's where they win it. Last week, the last game against Crows, they actually won the possessions overall. Nearly over another 100 disposals. That's just through ball control. I just feel that's how they'll try to win the game. Ball control, get the numbers back, stop that run. There'll be more, hopefully more of the same from, or less of more, not more of the same from our boys.
Yeah. I think their run sort of concerns me a little bit. I mean, they've got a lot of really quick players, guys like Tui, Doherty, Yaron, Buckley. They've got a lot of run and carry from their back line. Simpson, Yaron. Menzel's pretty quick. Armfield's very quick as well. So they've got a really pacey side, and that's probably, one of their only sort of positives, I guess.
So are they going to try the now predictable strategy that everyone employs or supposedly employs against us, and just block the centre corridor and try and flood deep to stifle our corridor use?
You would think they will try that. Whether it's successful, I'm not too sure.
You'd have to say that.
I'm not overly concerned about this game. I think we'll win quite comfortably, to be honest. But I think we're having one of those seasons where we're going to do pretty well against the bottom sides, and it's the mid-tier and the top sides that we're going to struggle in, and we're going to keep getting this false hope until the boys actually show their psyche's in the right place, and they're going to get on with the job. And but we've had some massive inclusions this week, Macca, and who's come in?
Yeah, well, let's talk about selections. Obviously, Matty White's gone with a hamstring. He'll be missing for around about a month. Paul Stewart's missing with a hamstring as well, so he's out of the side.
Do you reckon he did a hammy? Or are they just
saying when did he do that hammy?
No idea. Maybe he did it at training. Oh, it's the first I've heard of him having an injury. And I don't see why they wouldn't just say he's been omitted like the other three players.
He did, I think in the third quarter, on the outer wing, he when he ran over or got tackled over the boundary, he sort of clutched his right hamstring just a little bit, but he played out of the game and didn't seem to have any further issues. So unless it's just a really minor hamstring tear. Yeah.
No, that's true. And obviously, Tommy Cleary, Sam Gray and Aaron Young have been omitted. So some pretty big changes. Lots of changes this week. We've got Jackson Trengo's back. Thank God for that. Kane Mitchell's back in the side after a best on ground effort in the SANFL. Everyone will be happy. Andrew Moore and Brendan Archie are in the side after lots of very consistent games for both of those players. And Nathan Cracker's back. He's back. All the gnashing of teeth when he was dropped back to the rookie list is no longer necessary because he's back.
Are you happy with that?
I am, absolutely. Yep.
Beware the emergencies. Cam O'Shea still made an appearance as an emergency, and so did Sammy Gray, boys. So they're still right on the outer in Ken's mind.
Look, Boak, late change, Sammy Gray in.
Yep.
Look, I think it would be very unfair to just be saying to Sam, that's it, you've had your shot, you're banished forever. So, I mean, obviously Ken still wants to give him a bit of hope. Yeah, Ken wants to give him a bit of hope that he's still not far out. And the bench is interesting. It's chock full of inclusions into the side. So I'm just hoping
it's absolute sub fodder, that bench. Mitchell, Moore, Archie and Cracker, all four of them have legitimate shots at being a sub.
Well, I hope it's not our mate, the Arch. I think he's done his penance as the sub, and he really deserves a full game as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I reckon it'll be Andrew Moore.
Yeah, Moore. Good goal.
Yeah, rotate the inside mids, you reckon?
Yeah, I just think his first game of the year, I think they'll just make him sub. It'll either be him or Mitchell, I think.
Oh, I could see going to Cracker, just because he gives us more versatility than the other three. Can play that half back and both to the middle, go up forward.
So, what do you guys think? There's been some discussion, which I chipped in with a bit today as well, about Crack coming back gives maybe us the opportunity to play Jasper sort of in the winger role for Matty White to try and give us a bit more deeper forward penetration instead of solely off the half back line.
Yeah, well, look, it makes sense. Either Jasper or Jarman or Brody. I mean, all three of them have the ability to run and carry, have long kicks. So, I'm sure we'll see all three of them perform that sort of role throughout the game this week and in coming weeks as well. But yeah, I mean, every time Jasper's played further up the ground on a wing, he's pretty much been best on ground. So I'd love to see him, situated on a wing and kicking it inside 50 this week.
To a forward structure.
No, just a Travis Boak playing out the square. What else?
That's it.
Well, are we a tall forward, short boys?
No, if Angus Monfries doesn't shut down one of their back defenders. If Monfries can play that medium forward role, then you should be okay. Because we're a bit tall down back with Trengove now. So he has a bit more height there, even though Trengove's there. And then he plays Schultz from the square. Monfries is that medium role. When he's done it every time, when he hasn't done it, had a shutdown role this year, he's done extremely well. He's probably a top 5 BNF, Monfries, I reckon. But yeah, I think we're okay for now.
Yeah,
and it means
I'd expect Monfries to go on either Simpson or maybe Yaron, I would think.
So, do you guys think anyone's been lucky to be omitted?
You could make an argument, Cleary, to take a pick, Jonas or Cleary, but Jonas probably has the credits in the bank there. Same. But that's
Cleary's unlucky. Cleary's unlucky because he didn't actually have a sort of bad run at it, but he was always going to miss out with Trengove coming back.
Yeah. Well, I think Jonts, you're right. It would have either been Cleary or Jonas, and Jonas has got the credits in the bank. And I guess the one thing I remember from last year too, when we lost Alapate and Trengove, and Jonas had to play that more accountable role, his output went downhill like a bullet last year as well. But when he's got the freedom of the two key big men and Homch there as well, and he's got that ability to sort of drift off his player and be that spare man a little bit, he seems to play the role a lot better than when he has to be that accountable defender. Well, that's how I see it anyway.
Yeah, I just think he's one of the 10th best player, 15th best player that's gone quiet this year, and I think spotlight's on him to lift because Cleary's in great form. Even his SNFL, I don't think he's had a bad game from memory, so he's one I've got the spotlight on.
That's it.
Macca,
we've had a tweet. Had a tweet. Crazy Big Owl desperately wants me to read this out, and he says, "Why do you need to bring everything back to Jasper, Rick? #obsessed."
Well, I am his player sponsor this year for the footy club, so I have to stick up for Jasper. But I guess Crazy Big Owl, I wanted to highlight Jasper because I think that he's probably one of the key players in replacing Matt White's run for us. And as you guys rightly pointed out, Jarman Impey's probably the other. But I think we either need one of those two players pushing up the ground. And to me, with Nathan Cracker back in the side, Jasper seems to be the most logical guy that could push further up the ground and play that wing role, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think that until Cole Amon's back, you can plug and play Pittard up the role because he knows it well enough. It's not like you're trying to teach it again to an Impey, so you can plug and play it for Pittard on the wing until Amon comes back, and then you let him learn his craft there.
I think ours a bit jaded and bitter, Macca. He heard a rumour that I was going to have a Port Fan Radio Christmas party this year to christen the new swimming pool, but I said that he's not invited because he drinks too much beer. So maybe he's having a bit of a sook over there in the ACT somewhere and crying over his wheat picks or something like that. Yeah. Hey, but I wanted to say you pointed out last week in your best five that we didn't really talk about in the review show. You had Alapate in there, and I agree with you. I thought he really came back to form, and he's probably a key player that we need this week. Providing us a bit of form. What do you guys reckon?
Yeah, he'll have the job you would think on Casbolt, who's a bit of a mixed bag. He can take a big grab and shank it out on the full. So he's a bit of an interesting player. And look, he's been a match winner in the past for Carlton. So Bobby will have to play a bit tight, but I'd love to see him run off him as well and try and hurt him the other way, because I don't think Casbolt's got great fitness, and he's certainly not quick, that's for sure.
Yeah, our best Alapale, or our best Carlisle, is when he runs in, joins in with that defensive movement, and I think that's probably his one defender that hasn't gone downhill in that section so far this year. And I think Casbolt's a great opportunity for him to do that again, so I'm really looking forward to that matchup. He does quite well on playing. He does quite well on playing opponents that are a bit taller than him as well, so no worries there.
I guess what I was trying to say was, I think coming back from injury, he looked pretty average and got a bath against Rewalt, and then followed it up not with a great game. And last week I thought post injury really looked back into that form that he had in the first 5 rounds, where I thought he was in contention to be maybe all Australian fullback in that short period of time, because he was just in ripping form. So that gives me a little bit of confidence this week, and especially with Jacko coming back as well. It's going to be a much better and stronger defence for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So who does Trengove play on, do you think? Do you think he'll get the job on Cruiser, or do you think he'll go to the more agile Henderson?
You'd start him on Cruiser, but then you would have the switch ready. You'd have the... Because Honch and I'm confident on Honch on either. Yeah. But I want Honch on the one that will allow Honch to run off more. So start him on Cruiser, but have the switch ready.
Yeah, I would. I think Henderson might be a little bit too agile for Jackson. So I think actually Honch looks more like a natural match up there, and I'd probably be rotating Alapade and Jackson between Cruiser and Casbolt and see how they go. And it'll be interesting to see how Jacko's fitness pulls up after having 3 or 4 weeks off with his injury as well.
Yeah. Mm.
Carlton does
It surprise me if he's a player that they sub out.
We're awfully small then, Macca.
I don't know. We've still got Jonas there. So.
He leaves Westhoff as your 4th second ruckman, and then Loeb as a forward. We all know how well he can mark. And if they have to drag Loeb back when Westhoff goes in forward, I don't like Loebe on Cruiser.
Mm.
Yeah, they're not really known for their super endurance and fitness, though, Carlton. So I'm sort of with Macca there. I think if I was to be asked who's going to get subbed out, I'd imagine that he would probably be the one, unless there's an injury to another player at this point in time. But it'll be interesting, and I think we like that. We like the small run and carry team. So What about the big matchup, the massive clash, the one that I've been waiting for since I posted that notorious thread 4 weeks ago?
Kane Mitchell versus Zach Tui. Yep, should be a ripper.
You know what I'm talking about, Macca.
Oh, the huge clash.
The Warnock-Lobie Cup.
Is Warnock even playing?
I don't know, is he?
I don't think he is, mate.
Don't tell me they've robbed me the matchup of the year. They could have justified my argument, and they haven't dropped him, have they? I'm sure he played last week.
No, they dropped him a couple of weeks ago, mate.
Shit.
With Cruiser back, they don't have any need for Warnock because Wood's doing most of the ruck work, and with Wood and Warnock, that's two sort of dinosaurs that they don't really want to have in their side. So
no. Well, that's a bit of a shame. That would have been a marquee battle. I mean, I'm a bit tongue in cheek here, but we really need Matt Lobie to find some form this week, I would imagine, and this would be the perfect opposition to probably do that.
Yeah, look, Cameron Wood's had a pretty good season. He's he's probably had his best season in the AFL. He sort of wound back the clock a little bit, and he certainly has the ability to find his own players at the stoppages, and that's probably one of their real strengths, is that their ability to actually win the clearance and win the contested possession is pretty good, Carlton, but their skills let them down, and that's where they tend to sort of turn the ball over a lot, and that's where they get a lot of scores against them. But their actual ability to win the clearances is pretty decent.
Well, to kill the Lobie and Ryder, to kill the argument that you only need one ruck when Ryder's fit, I think Lobie needs to have good games that day. Otherwise, you would start flirting with the idea of Ryder as your main ruck when Lobie enjoy the Maggies. Just for 1 or 2 weeks, see what happens, get your confidence back up, But I think he needs a good game. Otherwise, that's on the cards.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. Look, if Floby gets thrashed again this week, then yeah, I'd be dropping him. No doubt about that.
You would. So you guys calling that this is the last chance saloon for Matt Loby?
Oh, a bit of a wake-up call. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, well, obviously, with that comment, I'm not saying let's drop him forever, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I sort of agree with that. If he can't do it this week, yeah, how's he going to go following game against Sydney?
Look, he just needs something to be able to, he just needs a big game to turn it around. I think he's the worst of the top 25 ruckmen in terms of hit-outs to advantage, and I think in terms of the number of hit-outs he wins, in terms of the contests he's in, I think he's something like ninth out of the top 10. So he just needs to have that ability to start winning taps and finding our own players, because at the moment he can't do it.
Mm. And it just doesn't really give you a head start in the midfield, does it? I mean, I know I'm stating the obvious, but I mean, look at that fantastic tap at the start of the second where he tapped it straight to Stanley. I mean, you just can't really do that. And I mean, I really want to see Redden's form and fitness really come back, because I think that's where Reddo's such a great player. He's just such a natural tap ruckman, and it would be a real travesty if we can't see him playing at the elite level for quite some time. But I guess we just got to go with what we've got, and I think Ryder will definitely make a difference too when he's due to be back.
Yep.
No, the Loby argument for me isn't about his ruck work, to be honest, boys. It's about what he does outside of that centre circle, because he's up forward, he's a liability. He's a big target. He brings it to the ground, but I think he's kicked something like less than 5 goals for the year. So that's, as a guy that's been floating up there a reasonable amount, I would want more. I want to see some big clunks, and I want to see some goals off him. More so than him winning those hit-outs to advantage. And, yeah, hit-outs, because look at Aaron Sandlin's stat. As great as it is to do it week in, week out, a good midfield can read the other oppositions and at least nullify it.
Yeah. In terms of Boak and Gray, I'm expecting a couple of pretty heavy tags to go on them with Curnow and Carazzo. Is that what you guys are expecting as well?
Yeah, Carrots is the job in Boak a fair few times in the past, so I can't see that changing. And then, yeah, Ed's got a bit more pace to go with Gray. I could see Ed going on Wingard if he goes off like he has been, but yeah, that's what I'd expect, those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I wonder if they might pay a bit more attention to Gray and Wingard than Gray and Boak this game.
I reckon Tui will get the job on Wingard.
Yeah.
He's got the pace to go with him and got the strength.
Try and run off him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chad's a great player, though. He almost, even though he's not a full-time midfielder, he's getting the stats now and the goal influence. You almost need to look at a full-time shutdown role on him, I guess, and do Carlton want to maybe look at depriving themselves of that run? Don't they play Armfield as a bit of a tagger from time to time as well?
Yeah, he normally plays as a bit of a forward tagger, so you might see him play on someone like Pittard or Broadbent.
Yeah. How many taggers can you carry? I feel like we're talking about Port Adelaide 2009, 10.
Well, that's the thing with Carlton. They've got a lot of defensive players in their side, so it's kind of a thing with them, and they need to get out of that sort of process at some point in the next sort of 12 months, I guess.
Yeah. Right, so what are we going to do? How are we going to win this game, Macca?
Well, look, I think winning it out of the middle is absolutely paramount to winning this game. As I said, I think Carlton's main strength is probably their ability to win the clearances and get the contested possession. So if we stop them doing that, we should be able to win the game pretty comfortably. But we know Carlton's skill level isn't up to scratch. We know that their run and maybe the mental side of the game isn't up to scratch. So if we can start well early, I really want to see us come out and absolutely burn in the first quarter and do something like what we did to Hawthorn and be 6, 7, 8 goals up at quarter time. That would be fantastic.
No, I want us to see us win it off half-back. I think their forwards mainly slow, like Tom Bell goes through there, not a quick man. Walker goes through there getting kind of slow with age, but they don't have any of those real quick, nippy forwards other than Menzel. So I want to see this be clean, use the corridor well, good delivery to our forwards.
Yeah.
What about Mark Murphy, who I thought played a cracker of a game against Adelaide? Do we have a natural sort of defensive player now that Kane's gone to sort of lock down him? Would we look at maybe a Kane Mitchell, perhaps?
Probably not Mitchell. I think I wouldn't mind seeing Ebert go up against him.
Mm. So play a bit of a tagging role and try and run off him?
Yeah, not necessarily a tagging role, maybe a slight defensive role, but I think we're more likely to see those guys go head-to-head, I reckon.
Yeah. So you don't think we'll do a hard lockdown tag?
I don't think so, no. Not unless he's getting off the leash a little bit, and then we might throw someone on him, but not from the get-go, I don't think.
Well, one of the anointed players by Kane was Andrew Moore. Perhaps maybe the club's going to try Andrew Moore as a full-time tagger this week.
Could be, yep. He's done a lot of defensive jobs in the past. He's done them with mixed results, I guess you'd say. And I guess the last time he played against Carlton, I think, certainly during 2013, the game against Carlton in Melbourne, he played on Mark Murphy and got absolutely thrashed. And he ended up getting dropped the week after, so... I don't know. Maybe it's time for a bit of redemption for Andrew.
Do you guys like him as a tagger?
No.
No.
Not at all.
Oh,
Not at all.
His best footy is aggressive footy.
Yeah.
Inside grunt.
He needs to hunt the ball, hunt the contest, and do his thing as opposed to... I think he tends to ball watch a little bit, and that way his man can get a little bit loose from him. But I think if he can be his own player, then I think he should be all right.
Yeah, what he needs to do is what I've been saying for a long time. Is you need to bring your attitude and your aggression, having the SNFL with Andrew, and bring it to AFL. And that comes with confidence, I know, but I feel that's the missing link for Morty. If he can bring that swagger he has out on the Albert, that he brings to Albert and Oval and Mazda and Higginbottom week in, week out, if he can bring that to AFL grounds, I think that'll seem a big step up.
Yeah.
Is it unfair of me to have this dream now of just visualising Brendan in a contested pack situation doing 15, 30-metre handballs a game, hitting a target on the run?
No. No, it's not.
Could you imagine? But if that was even possible, could you imagine
your hand out your pants, Rick.
I'm sorry, but could you imagine how that would just change the setup structure of a game? Because what would coaches bloody do? It would almost be, it'd make a nightmare, wouldn't it? But I'm really excited to see what Brendan can do this game. I think this could be a breakout game for him, especially if he gets a full 4-quarter opportunity to be able to show us what he can do. And I guess the other question that I put to you guys, the scapegoats were made scaped, so to speak, by Young and Stewart and Gray, which is what everybody wanted. So if the unthinkable happens and, we get beaten, do the Andrew Moores and the Brendan Archies, if they only get, say, 10, 12 disposals, are they the ones that get called out to be dropped? And, what's going to happen? How are we going to react to this?
Well,
it's a very interesting question.
Well, you go, Macca. You go, mate.
Well, I was just going to say it's a very interesting question because obviously everyone's been hammering on about getting guys like Andrew Moore and Brendan Archie in the side. So, it's their big chance and hopefully they take it. But if, God forbid, we lose, then I don't know. Maybe people will start to, put the question mark onto guys like Hartlett and Westhoff a bit more, or some guys that maybe don't perform, a bit further up the pecking order, I guess you'd say, because they're really the guys that have probably let us down more often this year. Are guys further up the pecking order that haven't played to their natural ability. So, for us to win the game and to start pushing towards finals, we really need those sort of top 10 players to start performing.
To me, it comes down to pass marks for those boys. Like, there's been a long chorus about Andrew Moore's best thing, or one of his better attributes is not what he does, but he makes Boak stand out. He makes Hartlett stand out. To me, that's all well and good, but we're going to be a top 4 team, that happens. Plus, you get your 15 and your 20, and you kick a goal, or you get your 5 and you get your 6 clearances. So I don't know. It's not 2011, 2012 anymore. As much as that, as good as it was, and he does do that well. For me, I feel like he needs to get at least hitting 15 if he plays a full game. Andrew, same with Brendan. But I feel like the Kane Mitchell haters will come out if we lose. Regardless, he could be the sub and kick 2 goals in the last quarter. But I feel like the Kane Mitchell haters they've been waiting. Sam Gray haters, they've taken that hat off. They've put the Kane Mitchell haters hat on. So that's who I feel is the next target.
Yeah, that's fair. We've got a tweet from Bevan who says, what about Hartlett to Murphy?
Hartlett's pretty attractive. I want to see him running.
I reckon Murphy would probably run off him a fair bit, but I reckon Hartlett's more of a natural match-up against Gibbs. I reckon they might go head-to-head.
Yeah, they're very similar players. I just think, I think Murphy would be too smart. And you talk about Andrew Moore, ball watching, I think Hamish would probably get caught up in that. And I can just already picture seeing Murphy bloody delivering spear passes inside 50 with Hartlett sort of trailing 3 or 4 metres behind often. So I don't know if I would like that. And it might be a bit of a waste too, making Hamish overly accountable. But we need Hamish to get a lot of ball this week. And I'm with you, Macca. We need him to stand up. I don't know if he's carrying an injury or whatever, but maybe he's sore from the extra tax that he's got. But really would like him to step it up a notch.
No doubt. You mentioned Cracker, how him playing down back might be able to allow some other players to play further up the ground, but do we expect maybe that he might play up forward in a bit of a forward pocket type role?
Bit of a waste.
Someone has to take Sam Gray's spot up there as that
waste.
And you'd think Cracker over Archie and Moore and Mitchell. So, but it would be a waste. I like him off half back.
I think so. I really like. Well, the reason I say waste is because our forward outside of Chad, forward pocket for us can be a bit of a wasteland and for a position of a player. So, I think we get a lot more influence from Nathan in the half-back line, and he's got fantastic skills for delivery of the ball, and that's been probably our major weakness this year from our defensive movement. So is that a luxury we can afford to lose by removing him from that half-back line and putting him into the forward pocket? I don't know, and I think I'd much prefer him back there.
But haven't we been screaming out for a bit of a forward crummer all year? Because we've tried Need, he failed. We tried Mitchell, he was okay for a couple of weeks and failed. We tried Sammy Gray, he failed. Maybe it's Cracker's turn up forward.
And he might fail too, whereas we know what he's going to deliver on the half-back line. So, I'd rather have Mitchell play there and fail again than roll the dice on Nathan Cracker. And maybe that shows that maybe that's what we need to find at the draft.
Well, maybe I guess what it shows is that we've got plenty of options in the side right now. And we can maybe change things up a little bit if things aren't going our way.
Yeah, but not for a small crummer. Maybe for we've got plenty of options for half-back flankers, but I don't know if any of those half-back flankers are actually forward crummers, which is a bit of a specialist position. So, I think that's what we might be going to the draft table looking for, perhaps, and a key position forward, Porsche.
Oh, really? No, I want a blue chip midfielder. I want another blue chip. Can't get
another one?
Yeah, can't get enough.
How many do you need?
Or you don't draft flankers in the top 50. You draft midfielders and key position players. But my eyes have lit up with the sight of, this is going to sound weird, but stay with me. My eyes have lit up with the sight of T-Boke forward pocket because, 2014 days, the one that we dropped from the forward line into the midfielder as an extra on bowler was a forward pocket normally. You'd normally go one small, one tall on the fishbone, and then you'd have 3 further up the line, and the forward pocket would go into the middle. So I hope that they tag Gray and Wingard early, and Bokey's our extra on bowler, and we get to see a Travis Boak special.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned on the review podcast on Monday night that we really haven't seen Boakey play out forward at all this year, and that's quite different to what we saw in 2014 and 2013. So, I guess with Andrew Moore and Brendan Archie in the side, they can do a job in the middle, and that allows us to have the luxury of Boakey playing on a forward flank and hopefully kicking a couple of goals.
And I think that came with the Ollie Wines injury. You need that inside Grant. Ollie wasn't there. Boak is the next one in the line.
Well, you were crying for Boakey to play more forward after after our loss on the weekend, Macca. So, and all the big footyites were calling for more in the arch to come in. Maybe the power coaches are out of resources and decide to come to our podcast and Big Footy to get the answers.
It's quite possible, Rick. It's quite possible.
I don't think it is, but it's good for our ego.
It is, absolutely.
Or maybe we're just really astute judges and we know what needs to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I wouldn't call that one either, man. No offense.
Come on, guys. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, how long would you play Boak in the forward lines? If you're going to break down percentage of game time for this game, how much would you be willing to play Boak in the forward line compared to in the midfield?
5 or 6 minutes a quarter at the most.
So about 25%.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm still sold. I want him to be the extra bowler. That's what we've missed, I think, this year. We did it a lot last year. It worked well. Instead of chucking the extra guy down back, let's chuck him on the bowl. Really push our bowlers. Get a lot of speed, a lot of grunt in there with more actually Wines, Boak, a lot of inside mids. So we'll say few minutes every quarter, 10%.
That's it. Well, look, what sort of reaction are we expecting if, God forbid, we do actually lose this game? Is that season over? Are we going to get absolutely caned in the press?
Start watching the under 18 championships, boys. If we lose this one, start watching the championships.
Well, I think the media is going to be determined by tonight's result. How's the game going tonight?
Half time, Hawthorn leads Adelaide Crows, Adelaide Oval 44, Charles 60.
What was that?
16
Adelaide
points.
44, Hawthorn 60.
Well, if Adelaide lose and we lose, we're going to get absolutely shit canned to cover up the fact that Adelaide lost. So we really need Adelaide to pull the finger out and win because then it will just be all about Adelaide and how good they are beating the reigning premiers. So, I would imagine there'll be Armageddon in the coaches box and there'll be Armageddon on Big Footy and on Facebook. Social media will be a meltdown and we might even be drawing lines in the sand. I think personally our season's cooked already, but I still have optimism in how we play and looking forward to different things. So I mean, I'm still looking forward this week to Morey playing and Arch and seeing what they can do, and I'm intrigued to see what Lobie can produce this week, and hopefully he can put in an improved performance. So, regardless of what's going to happen and the expectation for the season, I think there's still positives that we can get out of it as a supporter base.
So you think we're done, Rick, not making the 8?
Yeah, I reckon we're cooked, mate.
Oh, I expect to win.
That doesn't mean I don't.
On percentage missing the 8, I did it, had us one win out the 8. The more I think about us playing Freo late in the year, I'm hoping Ross Lyon just rests the top 10 players, and I'm getting excited about that.
I just look at where we are on the ladder. I think what we've delivered and how the other teams are playing, I just think it's going to be one of those seasons where we'll win against the crappy sides and it will give us the hope, and then we'll just keep dropping those key games and we'll just keep falling short, and it'll be one of those 9th or 10th orientated seasons. And I just think our confidence is a bit rattled. I think the coach's confidence is a bit rattled, and I'm not a big believer of comparing us to what's happened with other sides. Where people are trying to hold out hope for making comparisons to Geelong in 06 or I brought up the 08 season for us after the 07 debacle. But I just think that there's a lot of work still to be done, and we've been, as supporters and the media, have been swept up in the euphoria of the past 2 seasons and where we've come from, and there's still a lot of work needed, and I guess there's a few gaps that are being exposed in our depth and also in our starting 22 player list. And, if it is that blatantly obvious that teams can structure up in a methodical way and crack our game plan open so easy, well, then I just can't see us making finals based on that.
Yeah. Well, even been reading
what we really need is a big win this week. We really need to lift our percentage. We need a good sort of 10-plus goal victory this week.
Haven't you been reading the board, though, Rick? If once Andrew Moore comes back in, and once we drop Sam Gray, we're back to our best team ever.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's all Sam Gray's fault. Yeah. No, unfortunately, I haven't been able to read the boards or Facebook too much because I've been under the pump with work. So I've been able to try and get 5 or 10 minutes on a day. I reckon that's about it for me. But look, I'm not. What I'm saying, I'm not saying that I'm not a true supporter, which is the aspersion that some people on social media were siding against people that were saying that we're cooked. I can't. Why can't we give an honest opinion? And it's not about being negative either. I mean, I'm basing my comments on what I've seen, and what I've seen this year, I haven't liked. And it doesn't mean I
think you've made one mistake here, Rick, and that's the fact that you've been reading social media.
Well, big footy social media.
Not really. It's a bit different.
It is. Nah, it's the same. It's all social
it's a forum. It's a forum. It's different.
Nah, it's still the same. It's all social media. It doesn't matter. I'm bundling it all into social media, and it's funny. If you compare it, it's sort of, you got Facebook, which is sort of the more happier and you can't criticise sort of opinions, and you got Big Footy, which is the deep, dark, analytical perspective. We need something in the middle. We need to merge the two, but in our thoughts. But look, it's a really interesting season, and we've dwelled on it quite a bit about the managing of expectations for this year, and there seems to be a burden in the coaching group and the players, and they've been weighted down by expectation. And so it'll be interesting. We need a big scalp. I don't even think Macca beating Carlton by 100 points is going to say anything. It's what we're going to deliver after the bye. That's going to be the statement for us.
Of course not. It's not going to say, beating or thrashing Carlton isn't going to say anything, but it's more the fact that, the thing that's really going to stop us from making the 8 at the moment, if we do go on a bit of a winning streak, is the fact that our percentage is incredibly poor. So we just need a big win just to try and help us get back on a level pegging with some of the other teams around us.
Correct. If we can beat Carlton and we can come out and beat Sydney away, and then we have a good win, and then we can have a good win against Collingwood, well then
crack the champagne, mate.
I'll crack the champagne and admit I was wrong before the bye with my negative comments. Because then that will tell me that the playing group and the coaches have adjusted and they're stepping up to the plate when they can take on and win a couple of big games. And that's what I want to see. We did it last year and we did it the year before. We won key games when it mattered. And I guess what I want to see on Saturday is positivity. I want to see positivity in our game plan. And it's not about chipping wide, because every team goes wide, but it's what you do with it. Last year we would go wide down the wing, and then what would we do, Macca? We would centre it as our second to last kick to goal. We'd be coming back inside. But we're not doing that this year. We're not running with the ball from the half-back line, even down the wing, and looking to centre. We're just playing a very stagnant, chess-like game plan. And so that's what I want to see on Saturday. Can we actually execute a running game plan with intent? I want to see intent with the passion of the players, and I want to see intent from the coaches in encouraging that. And I don't think we've seen that for 4 quarters this year.
No, that's fair enough.
I can't think of a game done for 4 quarters.
So, a prediction. Who's going to win? Who's going to be best on ground? And why?
Can you predict us to lose, Macca?
Sorry? Oh, can I?
Predict us to lose, mate? Good.
Carlton by 21 points. And
I've already looked at his.
on ground.
He's lying. I've already looked at his tips. What do you reckon, Jonts?
I'll give you two options, boys. It'll be a Port by 70 plus, but we learned nothing because Carlton didn't do what other teams had done and tried to slow it down. They tried to outrun us and failed. Or it'll be a Port by 20, outclass them, don't see much again. I can't see us Saturday afternoon.
You can't have two picks. You gotta put it on one. What's your ultimate result here? What do you think's going to happen?
Port by 20, we learn nothing because we've just outclassed them by having a better list. They'll still clog the game up. We won't play attacking football. It'll be 90 points beat 70. I think Saturday night we'll still have a lot more questions than answers.
Okay.
About 4 points in the bank.
Rick?
I'm going Port by 10 goals. I reckon we'll win easily, and I still think it won't mean too much. And I reckon it might be a high scoring affair. I reckon it might be like 130 to 70 points.
Well, I can really see Carlton winning this game. I legitimately can. I can see them coming out firing, us being pretty sluggish at the start, the crowd getting into it, them being 3 or 4 goals up at quarter time, and we just can't sort of peg that back. But look, I'm going to say Port by 32 points, and I reckon Travis Boak is going to come out and be best on ground.
Boakey.
He's due.
I'm going to go here you go. I'm going to go Westhoff.
Westhoff. Nice.
I'm going to go Westhoff. I reckon the Westie's going to come out and breathe fire, and only the way Humphrey can. He's going to go for the honey pot, and he's going to get stung by the bee, and he's going to be angry.
Chad Show will continue 30-3 for the Wingard.
Yeah,
well
that's a good one.
Any other games interest you guys this week?
Richmond West Coast.
It should be a bit of a cracker, that one.
It should be a cracker, and I hate to say it, I'm excited to see the result of this one. I think if West Coast win, I think we got to say they're the real deal. And I think if they do win, it really opens up the opportunity that we could have 2 Western Australian sides potentially finish first and second.
Mm.
And what would that mean? I mean, the AFL would not like that at all, because with Sydney potentially in the top 4, well, they should be in the top 4 as well. Geez, there wouldn't be many games at the MCG.
Imagine a 4-team interstate finals first week. West Coast 3-0, Adelaide in 6th, and we'll chuck in, let's say, Sydney slide down to 5th. Imagine that.
Well, there's only 3 Victorian teams in the top 8 at the moment, and look, there's every chance that Richmond drop out. I mean, you would expect Hawthorn to sort of climb up the ladder a bit more, and Collingwood, you just never know what's going to happen there. They look like they'll play finals, but teams have dropped out from that sort of position in the past as well. So, I don't know. It'll certainly be interesting to see what happens. I agree, Rick. I reckon Richmond versus West Coast is probably the game of the round, and I think probably Richmond will win that. I reckon they're firing at the moment.
Yeah, I'm with you. I picked Richmond.
I still don't trust West Coast. I don't know. I just don't trust them.
Good team, no guns, but just solid team. My game would be Giants, North Melbourne. I think if Western Sydney can walk away with a win at home without their stars, it will say, I don't know, everyone ruling them out of the 8 will, think about it again if they can beat top off North.
Yeah.
Well, I think all I can say is thank God for North Melbourne, because they're probably taking the heat off. They're taking the heat off of us in the press, especially in Melbourne, because when they talk pretenders, they put in the exclamation point at North Melbourne when they mention briefly us, then they go to North. So it's great. So go GWS in a way. I would like them to really derail North Melbourne's season if it isn't already. But I think North Melbourne's in the same position as us, but they're probably worse because they've got an old list now. They rolled the dice.
The good thing for North is that they've got a massive run home. Like, they play all the duds on the way home. So there's every chance they'll still finish, pushing for top 4.
Yeah, well, we play a fair few of those too. I guess we've just got Hawthorn, Sydney, and Freo. And well, I think from the position that we're in, we'll need to win. Probably we need to beat two of those sides. I reckon out of those three games.
Yeah. I mean, they play GWS, they play Gold Coast, they play Essendon, Brisbane, Carlton. I mean, they've Melbourne. I mean, they've got a great run home, the Kangaroos. So I'd be expecting them to still push for the finals. And look, if GWS can win that game without Mumford, I mean, that will be a great effort for them because they've got Mumford out for the rest of the year now.
I forgot about that. What did he do?
Yeah, Davis broke a leg, so he's out for a long time as well. I think it's 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So if they can win without those two, it's look out, GWS.
So who replaces Mumford then?
Andrew Phillips.
Yeah.
He's only played about 8 or 9 games. Rory Lobb, he's only played a couple, I think. So, yeah, they'll certainly be stretched in the ruck, I think. But, I don't know, they might still be able to get the job done.
Maybe I'll need to change.
Kangaroos have Del Santo back in. They're handy in.
Yeah. Well, after that, I think maybe North Melbourne might be a good chance. Then I think I picked GWS too. What a bummer. Who'd you pick, Macca?
North.
Damn it. Go GWS.
Halfway through the year, boys. You should be able to. Halfway through the year, boys, who are you in? You should be able to change your tips. Halfway through the year, lads, who do you have in contention for a Port Adelaide All-Australian? Or squad, we'll say. Squad. In
the squad, you'd have to say Wingard, Gray and Homsch would be the three main ones, or probably the three only ones. I think Wingard would be pretty close. Homsch might get a bit unlucky for the fact that he only plays as a third toll. And Gray's been absolutely fantastic, but I just get the feeling that those on the selection panel look at it, maybe his lack of goals that he kicked last year and may think that he's had a bit of a poor year when in actual fact he's arguably been even better this year than last year.
I'd take Gray's last year over here. I think it's those four plus Travis Boak will get that almost. He's probably one of the names that the Victorian media do know, so I think he'll be in the squad. But I can't see him making the team. Probably Homsch. I'd want to see him make it. It'd be a great story, but I can't see him doing it. But I'd say Wingard and Gray. Wingard's my only lock if I had to pick one. Wingard's the only one this early on, but yeah probably would be second.
Yeah, well, if Chad continues the form for the rest of the year, he'd have to be a lock for an All-Australian position again, which would be an amazing achievement, 2 in the last 3 years for a 22-year-old. That would sort of almost be unheard of. There wouldn't be too many that would have done that. And Robbie Gray, his pack dissection, his vision to be able to get out of pack situations is amazing. And he's like a hot knife through butter at the moment. And his evasiveness is just a thing of beauty in a football sense. And it's a shame that we've sort of stifled that creativity over the last few weeks with where he seems to be following the instruction of just trying to do the quick kick out of the pack instead of trying to run and carry and handball out a little bit less, which is a bit of a shame because he's such a good extractor in those situations.
Oh, one more. If Ollie Wines, at the end of the year, Ollie Wines will have statistically will match some of the good blokes in the top 40. But with the time off he's had, he's not in contention. But I think statistically he'll match probably the pure midfielders that don't make the team but make the squad. Which is good. I reckon will be a good achievement if he can do that.
I'd like to see him actually just get recognised in that under 21 side because I think he's still eligible. Hey, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. Cameron who?
I mean, yeah, it's just a farce that he didn't get in last year, and I mean his figures are right. Macca, you would know his figures are right up there for the first 50 games with some of the best players in the competition ever.
Oh, no doubt. Yep.
Yeah, from memory, 360 did a piece about it, and he matched Chard and Ablett and Selwood. So if he's next, a lot of people say it. I think it's on the board, but if he can just maintain his current output for the rest of his career, he'll still be a brilliant pick.
Oh, he'll be amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All we
Yeah,
just
no
need
doubt.
is
I would love
Yeah,
him to
he
leave,
would-
but if possible.
he would be classed as one of the best top 10 in the comp, I reckon, if he could improve his overhead marking by
Brad
you know,
Ebert, that
say-
was.
yeah 20%. If he can improve that influence in his aspect of the game, yeah, I reckon he'd be looked at as a top 10 player.
If he can add the aspect of being able to play sort of as a quasi tall forward, kind of like Mark Rashudo did, and be able to go
Yeah.
up forward and kick 2, 3, 4 goals, whilst also doing his midfield work. I mean, it's just scary to think of, where he could get to in his career.
And why don't the club try that a little bit more often?
Well, they said they were going to, and I think at the start of the year they were playing him across a forward flank a little bit more than they were last year. But I guess one of our main issues this year has been our lack of clearance winning ability and contested possession in the midfield. So we kind of need him in the midfield full time.
Well, I guess with Moore and Arch in the side, does that free up the potential for Ollie to maybe play that role a little bit more often?
I hope so. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no reason why not. But I also see Ollie Wands as your first pick mid out of the three. And Moore's played a lot of forward flank footy in the past for us. Some okay, not quite well. But yeah, I love Ollie kicking goals. He's good player in kicking goals.
I like Ollie
I'd
kicking
prefer him
goals
in a
because I
forward
love his
pocket.
celebrations.
I prefer Ollie in a forward pocket over Travis Boak. There you go.
Yep, that's fair enough.
And you know what else is unbelievable? We were worried that we would only have a half an hour show, and we've still made it to the 9 o'clock mark. So,
That's it.
well done, boys. We've done very
Well, look,
well.
I can always edit it down to a half an hour show if you like, Rick.
No, not at all. I was a bit worried. It's one of those, it's hard to get as excited, I guess, when we're playing the less marquee games, which I think Carlton fits into that bracket. So, it's, but I guess there's a lot on the line for us this season compared to, say, 2014 and 13. So, this is a marquee game for us in a way because there's so much riding on it.
No,
We were only one game behind in this position in 2013. So, it's not all
Yeah, but
we
let's
did
remember
only
there's
finish eighth,
there's
I
one-
think.
there's one word that differentiates 2015 to 2013, and I've said it tonight.
Pittard, he said that quite a few times.
Jasper! No. It
Cut
starts
him
with
out
an
of
E.
shite.
Starts with an E.
evolution.
Expectation.
Expectation.
It's amazing, isn't it? How one word, one emotion, one thought can completely change the perspective of a season,
True.
isn't it?
That's it.
Yeah, I remember hoping going into 2013 for a good 10th. Oh, well.
Well, I had no expectation in 2013. I thought, new squad, like young squad, new coach, let's just see what they can do. And, if it's an improvement on the previous year, great. So I had no expectations at all. And, and that's where managing expectations is such a challenge because expectation is such a great emotion because it gives you hope. But the problem is there's a downside to having unrealistic expectations, perhaps, because that hope can turn into despair and frustration quite quickly, which is what we're seeing with our supporter base at the moment, and understandably so.
No doubt.
So,
I mean, everyone
And I
would
guess-
prefer to overachieve as opposed to underachieve. So.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the season is long, and and we've still got a young list.
The earth is patient.
Yes, the wheel will turn and the mule will come back. And the moon is round, but only for a couple of nights a year. And then the rest of the time it's another shape.
It's a crescent.
A crescent and a half moon. Very strange, isn't it?
That's it.
Interesting.
We've gone very zen the last couple of minutes.
We have. I'm delusional from too much work, I think.
That's it. All right, boys. we might leave it there. Of course, we didn't talk about the Magpies because they got the bye this week. For all the Maggies listeners.
Mm.
And I forgot the
Robbie Young Robbie Young and Co aren't playing in the academy side, are they? Quick look.
I forgot the Who Am I, Macca, so we'll do the Who Am I on Monday.
That's it.
I've got a new clue.
Good. This is good.
It is.
We've had, one guess so far, so...
No, we've had a few guesses.
Have we?
But I'll give the clue now for those that are listening still. This person has held a showdown trophy.
Ooh.
Okay.
For the record, the likes of Robbie Young and Co aren't playing in the academy team against Norwood on Friday night.
There you go.
They're not?
No, they are not. They are not.
Okay.
My boy Luke Reynolds ran him. That should be a bloodbath. We'll lose that.
No, boys, I think we should go.
Yeah.
No worries. Rick, I reckon you've given it away with that one. I reckon I know the answer to that.
Do you really? You can message me later.
Will do.
There's been a few that have held it.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Over the time.
So showdown trophy, not the medal, the trophy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll send me a message and I'll let you know.
Well, I will. Absolutely. Can't the pair.
Can't be.
Gathered though by Broadbent through the middle of the ground. Now a long kick down in the Paul Stewart direction. He marks and plays on. He keeps his footing. Got away from Ferrito to